Hi, everyone. I'm just going to wait a few seconds to make sure I'm live and you can see me and I did everything right. I think I did, but just want to double check before okay. Yep, I'm live. Okay. So, hi, I'm Ashley Bartholomew. I teach third grade at Rick Avenue School. And today I'm going to show you some ways that you can do guided reading during remote or hybrid instruction. You can also use some of the things that I'm going to show you in your classroom, even if we go back to a regular model in school full time. So the first thing I want to say is if you're watching from Millville Public Schools and you would like to receive a PD cert, all you need to do is type in your first name and last name in the comments, and I'll be sure to send you the certificate as soon as we're done. If you're watching the recording of this, you do have to complete the quiz that's attached on the document in order to receive your PD cert. So just a reminder about that. And if you have any questions as I go on, just type them in the chat and then I will be sure to check it periodically as I'm presenting. Okay. So, remote guided reading. So the main problem I think we can all agree on is that when we are meeting with children virtually, they don't have access to books. So I'm going to show you of 3 places today where you can get books. But before I want to do that, I want to show you the platform that we're going to use to run guided reading, which would be, of course, Google Meet. I'm not going to get too much into Google Meet because Alicia's doing lots of sessions on Google Meet, and I know she even said that she was going to have one at the end of August, like with all the updates that Google Meet is doing. So I'm not going to get too much into that, but there are a few things that I want to cover. So I'm just going to join a meeting so you can kind of see what I mean. I just typed in a random thing to join a meeting. Okay, so I'm going to join. And obviously no one's here because I didn't invite anyone. This is just for a test. So the most important thing about when you're doing guided reading is that when you're presenting, you're not presenting your entire screen. At least in my opinion, I feel like this is what works best. You want to present just a Chrome tab. So let me show you what that looks like. When you come down to the bottom right-hand corner, you're going to hit Present Now. And instead of clicking your entire screen or a window, you're going to click a Chrome tab. Okay, and then you can see it will give you the choices of what tab you want to show. Don't worry if you click the wrong tab or you want to change tabs, you can do that, and I'll show you that as well. So I'm just going to show you Epic Books. Okay, so as you can see up at the top right here, it says sharing this tab to meet.google.com. So that's how I know that this is the tab that my students are seeing on Google Meet. So as I click through and show them the book and walk through the steps of guided reading, they're able to see the book exactly like I'm presenting it right here. Now, what's really good about this is, like I said, you can also switch tabs. So let's say I wanted to go on Raz Kids and show them a book. Do you see how it says up at the top, it's sharing Epic to Google Meet, but I want to share this tab instead? Okay, great. Just click share this tab instead. And then this is the tab that they're seeing on Google Meet. I'm going to go back to sharing this one. Okay, so this is why this is good. So let's say we're doing guided reading with a small group of like 6 kids, and I want them to answer a question about the story. And I'll say something like, so in the story, how do you think Jabari is feeling at this point? And prove your point with text evidence. So of course, in order to do that, they're going to need to be able to refer to the text. So that's why we're just sharing a tab. So the students are seeing this book, But as a teacher, I can go back to the Google Meet tab and I can see, and I know you can't see anyone right now because nobody else is in the meeting, but I would be able to see the students over here. And I would be able to see, like, if they wrote down on a whiteboard or a piece of paper their answer, they can hold it up and I can quickly check for understanding. Meanwhile, while they are still seeing the book. If you're sharing your whole screen, that won't work because as soon as you switch back to this Google Meet tab, this is what they're going to see. So it's very important that you're just sharing a Chrome tab. So that's really all I'm going to talk about with Google Meet. Like I said, Alicia is going to have so many. She already has a lot, but she's going to have another one towards the end of the month if you need help with Google Meet. Okay, so now let's get into the hardest part about doing guided reading remotely, giving kids access to text. While there are most kids do have some books at home, but they probably don't have books that are on their level. And even if they do have books that happen to be on their level, the chances of 6 different students that are in a reading group together all having the same book is highly unlikely. So that's why we're going to have to use digital versions of books. So the first one I'm going to show you is RazKids. All of us have a RazKids account, and you should probably be familiar with it. If you're not, Nina Crane has a really good self-paced course that you can watch that will help you with RazKids. So I'm all signed in, and I'm just going to show you by going to resources, and then I'm going to click all leveled books. Okay, so you can do this a few ways. You can search like for a specific topic book. You can search fiction, nonfiction, whatever. The way that I usually like to search is by reading levels, just so I'm sure that I get the correct book for my group. Now, I will say to be mindful that the reading levels on RazKids don't always correlate with an F&P level. I didn't even know that until like a few years ago when someone told me. It like blew my mind. So I always like to share that. So here's what I mean. If I hover over the A, you can see that like this is grade kindergarten, and it's also a Fontes and Pinnell level A. So that one's fine. But once you start to get like right around here, like level K, you can see that it's actually a Fontes and Pinnell level J. So just be mindful of that. And I know there's not a huge difference between J and K. Like it wouldn't be the worst thing if a student reading on a level K was actually reading a level J book. But the further you progress down the alphabet, the more of a gap it is. Like, for example, here's a level T book on RazKids, but it's actually a Fontes and Pinnell level P. So just be mindful of that when you're picking books. So just to show you what I would do. So I'm going to pick level K. And as you can see, there's 83 different books that are on level K, which gives you lots of guided reading material. So let's just say I pick this one about the butterfly life cycle. Okay, so there's a few ways that you can approach this. And this is really going to depend on your students and the level of your readers. So obviously, if you're teaching younger kids, kindergarten, first grade, probably even second grade, you're going to want to read the book with the kids while they're with you because you're going to be checking for accuracy and fluency and just helping them like with decoding skills and things like that. Once they're in third grade, and that's what I teach, third grade, I tend to find that once they're like a level N or above, they don't really need me to be there supporting them with their reading or, like their fluency and their accuracy. We more want to get into discussing the book and working on reading strategies. So for them, I would assign them this book ahead of time so they could read it ahead of time and use our time together as more of a teaching point discussion, like reading book club type of deal. So there's a few ways you can do that. If your kids are comfortable with signing in to Raz Kids and like they're good with that, no problems, no issues, I would just assign it right on Raz Kids by clicking assign, and then you can click specific students. So like I can pick 2 students and then assign it to them. Okay. If you use Google Classroom and the kids are more familiar with that and you don't want them signing into 99 different things, what I would do is I would come down here to the single-sided book and I would just download it. And then all I would do is create an assignment in Google Classroom and attach this PDF so the students can read it on their own time and they don't have to worry about logging into Raz Kids or anything like that. Okay. Another thing I really like about Raz Kids is it literally gives you the lesson resource right here. So if you scroll down under lesson resources, leveled book lesson, it will, and this like pretty much walks you through your whole guided reading lesson. So like what to focus on, the questions you can ask before reading, introducing the book, how you would do that, words to know, vocabulary, everything. So I mean, it's all here. So if you are feeling overwhelmed by doing virtual guided reading, I feel like this might be a great place to start because it kind of takes the thinking out of it. You can just focus on teaching through this. And then once you get the hang of it, you can go back and develop your own lessons. Something else that's really great about Raz Kids is they have multi-level books. So this, we all know that it's best practice to read the book prior to having a guided reading lesson with your students. You don't want to go in not knowing the book and not knowing what questions you're going to be asking them. So as you can see, they have this book on a level H and a level N. So that means you could potentially use this book for 2 different reading groups and only have to read 1 book. So I think that's another highlight of Raz Kids. One more thing I wanted to say about just the general guided reading virtually. I know normally in class, our guided reading groups probably are 15, 20 minutes, 25, maybe 30 minutes if we have a lot of time and a small class size. But when you are planning for virtual guided reading lessons, you really want to give yourself more time rather than less, because there's always going to be the chance that the child has connectivity problems or they can't log on to the Meet, or you have to end up calling them to help them log in, or they can't hear, or they can't see you, or they can't hear the other kids. So I would always block out, when I did this in the spring, I always blocked out a larger chunk of time. That way, when I actually got down to the actual guided reading lesson, if I had 20, 25 minutes of actual instruction, that was good, even though I planned for an hour because of all the, things that just come up when you're doing something virtually. Okay. I was just checking for any questions, but there aren't any, so that's good. Okay. So that's Raz Kids. That's the first program you could use to get books into your kids' hands. Well, not really hands, but onto their computer screen. Another one that I love is Epic Books. Okay, let me show you what it looks like from home. Okay, so a lot of teachers tend to either they don't know about Epic or they're under the impression that it costs money. And they do have a home component. Don't get me wrong. They do have a home component where they want the child's family to pay for the books. But it is free for teachers and it is free for students during school hours. So I have it written down right here what that is, what they consider school hours. So as long as they're logging in with this class code right here, the CQX0909, and of course yours will be different, it will be free for them from school hours, which they consider Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 4 p.m. And I've used this during, like I said, in the spring when I was doing remote guided reading, and I didn't have any problems with kids having to pay or anything like that. So that's a really good piece to remember. And Epic has 25,000 books, and they're always adding more. And what I really love about it is the books are like relevant, new, diverse books that the kids may already be seeing, like out shopping or in the library or wherever. So let me show you what I mean. So let's just keep on our topic. I'm going to search butterflies. And you can see it gives me all of these books about butterflies. There's actually more. And when I look at them, I kind of like hover over. It'll give me like an age range, the reading level, whether it has a quiz attached to it, and a little summary. So it helps me to choose. So let's just say I choose one of these books. Let's pick this one. Okay. So what I like about Epic too is the kids like it because it is like actually flipping through the pages of a book. So like you would flip through and you would do the same thing. If you were on Google Meet, you would project this and then you would be talking to them through Google Meet. And if you wanted them to share something or write something down, you would flip back and forth between the two screens. Again, if you wanted to share this ahead of time, you could either click this blue arrow and just simply click this share button, and that gives you a link and you can share it in Google Classroom, in Seesaw, whatever you want to do. And you could also share it through email, whatever. There's also a way here to click this assign button, and you can just simply assign it to your class, or you can search for students and assign it only to specific students. I archived my entire class from last year, so all I have right now is a guest, but you could do it either way, whatever way makes it easier. Now, if you're teaching like kindergarten, first, second grade, and you don't want them to read the book ahead of time, I wouldn't even worry about assigning it to them at all. I would just display the book and go through it with them as they're meeting with you. Something else that is good to know is there's this little heart button here where you can favorite or add it to a collection. So you can create collections or just add it to your favorites, whatever you want to do to just keep track of all of your books. Okay, so let me just show you. So there's different ways to look through the books on Epic. You can search by age, the reading level, fiction, nonfiction, the language, whether it has a quiz or not. But let me go into my library and show you one of my collections. So like you can just see how many good books there are and like how they're diverse and just really good. I mean, these books are super popular. Ada Twist and Iggy Peck and Rosie Revere and all of those. And those are on here for free. So that's really great to get quality materials into the kids' hands. And to add students, all you do is go to My Students and then hit Add Students. And you can just simply paste all of their names, or what I do because I use Google Classroom is I just import all of their names through Google Classroom, and it makes it really, really super easy. One more thing that I wanted to mention about Epic, and then I'll go on to the next thing, is when you make a collection, you can also assign the entire collection. So in the spring, we read, there was a Reading Street story about the Statue of Liberty, and I wanted them to read more. So all I did was find this book that actually had a science experiment at the end that was about turning pennies green. And I wanted them to do that. So, and I only have that one book here, but I could have more. But you can share and copy link and share this entire collection. So that wasn't a good example because I only had one. But like for these books, Grand Canyon versus Mount Everest, I can just assign that whole. Obviously, I don't have a group again, but I could assign that to all of them. Or again, I could click share and I could copy the link and then they get all those books in that collection. Okay. So I think that's enough of Epic. All right. This one I'm going to talk about very quickly. It's just another place to get books. So this is called Oxford Owl. So once you're logged into Oxford Owl, it is free for teachers. You're going to click ebooks. And then you're going to click ebooks again. And there's same thing. You can search age groups. You can search different series. Levels. I will say that these are Oxford levels because this is a UK-based website. But a quick Google search will tell you how they correlate with F&P. But what I like about this site in particular is there are lots of lower level reading books, which I think sometimes are hard to find, especially with high quality pictures and picture cues. So like, for example, this one, and it's like Epic, how you can go through the pages. And this too gives you a little bit of like a little cheat sheet. So you can just say, oh, okay, I'll go through it this way until I feel comfortable. But I mean, just the pictures are really good for helping like lower level readers, younger students. And it's cute. Okay. So that's Epic. I'm sorry, that's Oxford Owl. Okay. So let me see if there's any questions. Nope. Okay. So the last thing I want to show you is how to make digital flashcards. And you might be saying to me, well, why would you make digital flashcards? If you're teaching your kids virtually, like just hold up a flashcard. And that's 100% true. You could totally do that. But I find that sometimes you have issues with kids like seeing it clearly or, like if there's a glare, it's not always like easy to see. And just doing it this way makes it really quick and easy. So let me show you what I mean. I created these flashcards in a Google slide. And so like the first 2 to 5 minutes of guided reading, I would just quick zip through these flashcards just to warm them up and get their brains ready to read. And here's how it looks. So I just love how it looks like a flashcard. It's nice and clear, easy to read. So I can just zip right through across against area, become, blah, blah, blah. And they can practice. The other great thing about doing it in Google Slides is because you can just assign it to the kids. So you could simply assign this in Google Classroom. You could assign it in Seesaw. Whereas if you had, flashcards on paper, it's not as easy to share with your students. So let me show you quickly how I make these. So all I do is go to New, Google Slide. And I always get rid of the pre-made stuff. Okay. And then I set my page up so it looks long like a flashcard. And I said this in my last one. I don't have any rhyme or reason as to why I do this, but I set it up as a 3 by 10. It's just, I like it to look that way, but you can play around and pick out whatever you like. So, oops, just kidding. I told you a lie. I do it the other way, a 10 by 3. My brain is on summer mode. Sorry. Okay. But 10 by 3. So it makes it nice and long. And then all I do is add a text box and I make it really big. And then I type in the word. I'm going to make it very simple. The. Obviously, it's too small. So let's make it big, probably even bigger than that. And then I center it. And of course, I pick a font that is clear, easy to read. Okay, so that's the hardest part of it, is the first one. Because after you create the first one, you're just going to come over to the first slide, right click, hit duplicate slide, and then just type the next word. And it has it ready for you, already formatted. So it's really easy. So you can go in and do that for your whole list. You can label this like fry 100, 200, or whatever. And then if you want to make another set of cards, all you have to do is go to File. Just kidding. Oh, haha, silly. Okay. File, make a copy, and make a copy of the entire presentation, or like the selected slides if you just want to start with one. And then you have that ready to do your next set. So like I said, setting up the first one is probably the most challenging part. But once you do that, you're good to go. And then, like I said, when you present it to the kids, when you're sharing that Chrome tab, it will look like this to them. And it will be really easy for them to read and see, and you don't have to worry about anyone having trouble viewing it. Okay. So I think that was it. Oh, I'm glad you like the digital flashcards. So you could even use them for like math facts, right? Like multiplication facts. I know this is digital guided reading, but you could do it for many things. Okay. So I know I said a lot, but I hope what I said was helpful. I think the main thing to consider is getting the books with the kids, because like I said, that's the biggest challenge we're facing when we're remote, is getting books with the kids. So using those three sources, Raz Kids, Epic, and Oxford Owl, and then using what you have to make flashcards. Did anyone have any questions? Love the flashcards. I'm glad. Okay. And I only see, just so I just want to make sure everybody gets credit for being here. I see Danielle's name in the chat, and that's it. So if you are here from MPS and you want to receive a PD certificate, make sure you type your first name and last name, and I will send it to you as soon as this session is over. If you are watching the recording, please make sure you complete the quiz in order to get your PD cert. But if you're attending live right now and I see you, you don't have to complete any quiz. Okay. I'll just wait another minute and make sure no one has any questions. Thanks, Danielle. Okay. Well, I hope you all have a great day, and thank you so much for coming. And if you have any questions or need any help, please feel free to reach out to me and I would be happy to help. I am by no means an expert, but I'm always trying to figure it out just like you guys are. Okay? Have a great day.